Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TheRADcast, where our pancakes are square and our waffles are round.
Oh, yeah. Today's topic is iTunes and the difficulties that come with.
Not to mention, we're going to hit a little bit on some gaming, but that's for later. Now, alright, so let's break it down here. So, iTunes, the fuck?
Yeah, today we had the troubles of trying to post a podcast to iTunes, and we then realized that you need a RSS feed to post to iTunes. What happens to the good old days when you could just give them an MP3 file and they could post it, and you could share your voice with the world?
I know. I mean, basically, we're just stuck on YouTube. I mean, you guys are great, but we'd rather have us be mobile, you know? Bigger audience. I mean, sure, but gosh, iTunes is just full of suck right now. I mean, even to just create an account, they either expect you to have received, a gift card or to have your own credit card.
They ask for billing information, although we don't want to buy anything. We want to post our stuff, but of course the big thing about iTunes is that it's all about money. I feel like Steve Jobs had nothing to do with this. Considering if you look at the rest of the Mac computers, I don't see them getting cheaper to try and get people to buy them. So I feel like the iPod and the iTunes have nothing to do with Steve Jobs.
Um, Sorry to bring this up, but dude, Steve Jobs, he dead, man.
I know he's dead. That's the
Yeah,
point. I feel like Mac is going to go downhill from there.
gosh, Apple's just gonna go downhill. Even when that their stock is up, well, a couple days after. I
Is
don't
it?
know. I saw it on Monday. Yeah, go figure. Stocks on my iTouch said, "Hey, their stock is up," and I was just like, "Wow, great job. Your your founder died, and you go up in stock. The hell?
Well,
Oh, they're down today.
a lot of people
They're
don't
down
like Steve
today.
Jobs.
Apple's down today.
Apple's down.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So
Down in stock, that is.
what I realize is that iTunes has been trying to fix things that they've recently done really bad.
And they're also integrating new technologies like cloud.
Yeah, cloud. Now, there's something that I feel like has been pushed upon the world. Like now, I realize and I see all these commercials for cloud gaming, for the Windows cloud. Let's go to the cloud commercials with the stupid people at the airport. Hey, we got cloud. It's cool. You should try it. And then now Max got into it, and you see commercials all over YouTube for it. It's getting to the
Honestly,
point where I feel like they're just pushing something else off onto us to try and get more money.
yeah. Honestly, I haven't seen too many cloud commercials. I've just seen it for like the on live and more recently just actually iTunes enforcing it onto well, not forcing it, but giving the option to store most of your media on the cloud.
Yeah,
But I
like
use Firefox, just throwing that out there now, so I don't have to watch those stupid ads and crap.
yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna use Google Chrome, and even though it takes up a ridiculous amount of space when used, it's faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like today, last night, I was sitting in my bed, and I was checking out our podcast on my iPod, and I see that there's this thing, and it's like, hey, iTunes, you have some messages. I was like, okay, so I clicked it. Well, I didn't click it, I touched it, but I touched it, and I noticed
Well,
that,
like,
yeah, I noticed that it had a list of everything that my iTunes account had purchased. Now, this was like from the past like several years that I bought these. I like bought these like way back when I got my first little iPod Nano video when they first came out with that. And it's like all the purchases that I made from then. And I was like, well, damn, they saved all of that. And I remember that when I first lost my iPod, and I had got a new computer since then, and I was like, oh, well, that sucks because now I can't get all my iTunes stuff back. Well, apparently you can now, or could you just done that already?
I think you could have done that already, because whatever's purchased. I mean, every time that I get my iPod hooked up to my computer, it's like, hey, would you like to transfer your purchases? So it's always been linked through your account. I mean, that's something that's existing and coming back, and I'm glad that they've kept that. But I don't know how much that's all going to change with cloud, because if you have too many files and you want to have them stored in the cloud, they're going to have you pay for it.
That's what's gonna kill them right there.
hmm Eventually,
Money.
just their cloud services are going to make their consumers pay more,
Yeah,
as far as I
people
can tell.
people are gonna realize that they're just paying more for extra file space.
All right, let's segue over into gaming a little bit. I'm gonna keep on with the cloud, but cloud gaming, like the OnLive that I mentioned earlier, um, those things aren't even guaranteed. If you have, like, they have the game, but you're purchasing a pass to play.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of like World of Warcraft, where you pay monthly to play.
Right, but
Except I don't feel like cloud is any safer than actually just going out and buying a game and playing it with the CD. I feel
actually,
like what happens if their cloud server goes down? Then what? You're
then
fucked.
you're SOL for the month, week, or however long it's down. But what I'm saying is that those games on the OnLive or whatever, those are only guaranteed for so long. So if you paid, I don't know, $60 to have a pass on it forever, you're not gonna keep that, because it's not gonna be up there forever. They're gonna constantly shift their games around. I don't even think they're going to keep games that are like 2 years old unless they're extremely popular.
Yeah, I can see where you're heading with that. They're gonna run out of room eventually, and then some games are gonna get trashed.
Yep, and
So then
users
what?
who love that,
Yeah,
they won't have it anymore. It'll just be gone.
they're gonna get screwed.
hmm
Which then brings the issue: are they gonna keep the regular games? Because I know that there's no way that I'm gonna trust some random server that I can't see or that I don't know to hold games that I'm gonna spend my money on that isn't even really that all that reliable. I'd much rather have a tangible version of a game and just play it. I mean, I don't see a problem with buying games through CDs. I don't know why we have to go into cloud servers just to play a game when it should be as simple as pop the CD in and play.
Right, but even then, you're installing files on your hard drive. But then that also kind of brings me over back into the little music. Like, we're downloading MP3s onto our computers and everything. And I mean, that's cool because it's on your computer, but now we're looking at the cloud. The cloud, nothing's on your computer, just access into the supercomputer, which is storing all your data.
Yeah, that brings me back to the play. That brings us back to the PlayStation 3 when they got hacked, quote unquote, by Anonymous. And well, I feel like if we had everyone's information on one big server, that's just something bad's gonna happen eventually.
One padlock isn't enough. That's all I'm saying.
I'd feel much better if I had the stuff on my computer because then it just gives me that sense of, hey, I can see it right there. It's there for good. It's not going anywhere unless my computer decides to bite the dust or something to that effect. Something I also noticed about iTunes is no matter how many times I look at my iTunes folder, I don't see the MP3 files. Maybe it's just me, but I can't seem to find the iTunes files whenever I go on. Like right now, I'm searching through my C drive and I'm looking for the iTunes folder, and I click it, and I don't really see any MP3s.
Yeah, the
So
problem is that they try and hide all your files, no matter what. You make a purchase off our store, we're having it on your hard drive in this specific spot.
yeah, and I'm like, well, I'd like to see my MP3 so I can, move some of my music and move it to my Zune because I use a Zune too. I'd like
Right.
to be able to move it over to, my music folder because I got a big fat folder full of all my music and all my media, and it'd be nice to know where my MP3s are going so I can physically see them and so I can move them around to my will. Another thing that bothers me about iTunes is that the adding music files to iTunes is just so ridiculous. Like, I've tried and tried to do the same thing that I do with my Zune player, but I add a folder and then I keep adding music to that same folder, and on the Zune Marketplace it just updates it. It adds whatever you add into that folder gets added to the Marketplace or your little library. For iTunes, if you keep putting stuff in there, it doesn't update it, and you have to keep updating it every time. And I've had the trouble
Oh
of
gosh.
there are so many doubles on my iTunes library. I've had to search for days just trying to get it, sorted out.
I can sympathize so much because recently, I mean, heck, if you tell it to scan whatever, it'll do it once. It rarely repeats. I mean, there's like one or two times when I've actually turned my computer back on and it'd be like, oh, hey, we have this list in our library. Oh, can't find the file.
There are some times when I felt like iTunes is conspiring against me.
It's because we run Windows.
See, now I used to have this teacher, and his name was Mr. Woodward, and he was a diehard Mac fan, and he always called the My Computer thing My Confuser. And once you get used to it, it's really not that confusing. But I mean, I can understand where he comes from. I like the Mac idea of having your hard drive just as an icon and being able to click it and just see all the files in it instead of having to navigate through program files and all that other convoluted shit that Windows has up to protect their own software. So you
Yeah,
can't mess with their settings. That's
yeah.
one thing. That's one reason I wish I had a Linux on a computer or a hard drive.
All right. If you couldn't tell, we took a short interlude there. Back to computers. Yeah, I can completely sympathize, but at the same time, I've ran Linux and I've been so confused about it. Just user interface for me. I'm so poor at this. Um, I've been a Windows person all my life. I tried Linux for like, I don't know, maybe a couple hours. I mean, that may not be a lot of an attempt, but I tried it at least.
Yeah.
And you cannot run any any real applications on it as far as I can tell. It's either you find something made for Linux or
You can. You just have to find the person who decided, "Hey, I want to play this on Linux," or "I want to do
yeah,
this on Linux." You have to there it does get bothersome at one point, but there is somebody out there who's done it, made an application compatible for Linux. The only thing that I like about Linux better is that the user interface, yeah, you might not like it, but I like it. To me, it feels a little bit more, safe. I like how everything is password protected. The only problem that I had with Linux when I used it for a short while there was drivers. I couldn't get Linux to realize that I had drivers for my graphics card. So I was just stuck with this really horrible resolution, and I couldn't get it to look any good, and it was just really bad.
uh, that's never any good. Like I've had problems installing drivers. Like I recently built a PC, which is the main reason why I had to use Linux for a little while
Yeah,
until I actually figured out, oh hey, I can put an ISO file on a flash drive like this. But that's just personal problems.
yeah,
But eventually I got it to work, blah blah blah. That's all done and gone. But Linux, yeah, it doesn't like to work with a lot of things.
yeah. I've noticed that Minecraft has a Linux compatible,
Yeah,
which is weird because I can't imagine somebody on Linux playing Minecraft. I just can't.
I knew somebody who played Minecraft on a Linux system, Ubuntu. I
It
think that's
just
their latest thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem. It seems like Minecraft has just gotten so much ridiculous hype.
Oh gosh, I don't even want to get started on it. I dislike Minecraft with a passion. Throughout high school, well, my last year of high school, that's all everyone talked about. Oh, Minecraft this. Hey, we built this boat. It was so cool. I mean,
Yeah,
one thing is to talk about gaming, but to talk about Minecraft is it just feels like a complete other.
Yeah, see, the thing about Minecraft that I find is ridiculous is that why did it take somebody so long to come up with that idea? Hey, you can remove blocks and place them. Why did it take so long for that idea to get popular? And for one, why did it get so popular? It's really not that amazing of a game. I mean, it's building blocks, okay.
I can see the rage faces now.
Yeah, I can see the troll comments right now. You guys suck. Minecraft is awesome, but see, the thing is, it's really there's no depth to it. I realize that everyone loves it. I realize that it's not a bad game. I mean, me personally, I can't play that game alone. I have to have a friend, and I can't do it for more than 30 minutes. But it's just the game itself isn't really that amazing. I mean, I've played better web-based games than that, and I realize that it did start off as a web-based game, but I
It kind
just
of still is, to be honest, unless you have your personal lands.
yeah, but I just Minecraft has become. I feel like Notch isn't really making this game anymore. He's just letting people add stuff to it and then adding it to his game.
I mean, honestly, I feel like Minecraft is a bit of a sandbox of a sandbox. I mean, gosh, eventually it can just get to the point of where everybody's doing it's going to be open source or something where people are just doing their own. I mean, granted, there are already mods for it. People can fly, people can reskin everything. I mean, what PC game you can't reskin stuff on, but you know.
Yeah. To me Minecraft is just it's really overrated. I mean, if you want to change a pace in a game, you should go play the game from Dust. It's a very well made strategy, real time strategy. I want to say.
From Dust. That's the PC Xbox release, right?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Let me tell
The
you,
tr-
I
I
bought this
tried.
game thinking that it was gonna be, like I thought it was gonna be a nice change of pace, and when I bought it, I was just blown away by the way how nice it looks and how simple it is. It's not complicated. It's just really simple. It plays smoothly, and it's relaxing.
I played the trial for that game. I honestly I fell in love with it. I didn't buy it though. I am a bit of a hypocrite. I I mean, if you want a real sandbox that is fun, that you can enjoy, I recommend that as well. You just have to have, some planning and thinking skills, especially when it comes to trying to progress in the game as opposed to just enjoying it. But every game has its perks and downfalls, so
Yeah. Speaking of perks and downfalls, let's start talking about Minecraft and how it's simple block formation versus the amazing graphics that we now see in things like Gears of War 3 or
what they're attempting in Battlefield 3, Modern Warfare, everything, to be
I
honest.
wouldn't put Modern Warfare under amazing graphic technology.
Hey, they're still trying though. You have to admit that
I
much. I
feel like they're
mean,
not trying. I feel like ever since they came out with the first Modern Warfare for the Xbox, that every single Xbox Call of Duty after that has looked almost exactly the same with the same engine. I don't feel like they made any changes, and I don't feel like they're trying to keep like I know that graphics aren't that important, but you could at least upgrade them a little bit with each one. And when you're coming out with a game every other year,
oh gosh.
it's just getting to the point where, hey guys, why don't you take a break? Make some
Yeah.
DLC for your game or something. I
Make
mean,
something other than maps.
look at Left 4 Dead 2. I mean, yeah, it's all maps, but people still play it. It came that game. They've made so much DLC for that game. It's not even funny
For PC or
for PC.
yeah,
Granted, Xbox doesn't have much DLC. Granted,
because Microsoft is a bunch of hard asses. Pardon the
yeah,
language.
but one thing about the Call of Duty thing is that it's just so
Played out.
I don't even know what to say. Like when I first played Call of Duty, it was Modern Warfare, I didn't play it for very long. I'd first started playing it, and I was like, okay, it's a cool idea. It's not bad. It reminds me of Medal of Honor from the PlayStation, except with better graphics. It's got a perk system, some RPG elements in there with the upgrades of the guns and such.
All right, I'm gonna take a step back here from Call of Duty and just say a lot of games are amazing at launch.
Yeah,
A lot of games like to be good, and they usually launch good. But over time, I just want to say Halo 3 degraded in playability as time went on, as have many games. Like I remember Modern Warfare 2 when it first came out. I loved the servers for that, and people started exploiting it. The servers started becoming a lot of just trash, and I believe that we're both hitting on console versions here.
yeah,
All right, so we're both talking about the Xbox 360.
correct.
So a lot of Xbox servers start out great and then they just turn to trash. Because being a Halo fan a bit, it Halo 3 I actually started playing like way before they came out with Reach, but then they came out with ODST and they tried different things. Halo 3 is more of the sandbox of shooters, especially with all the settings they're giving you now, but stuff like Modern Warfare and I'm sorry to bring this up, but Battlefield, they've they really do feel like old news sometimes, especially if it's almost a year after they've been out. Like Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Yeah.
Lovely game. I've went back to it a couple times just for kicks and giggles.
See, the thing that I realize about most first-person shooters nowadays is that it's all been done before. There's not much you can do now with the first-person shooter that you can do differently from the originals. I mean, you can make them look better. You can add new guns. You can make things so you run faster, or you live longer, or you can't be seen on radar. But really, in actuality, it's all been done before, and there's really not much we can go from the FPS except for making better graphics. And the thing is that we have enough war games already. Let's start making some other things. I mean, we have enough Battlefields and Call of Duties, and we have enough. Ca- Call of Duty, they don't realize how much they've
How?
just killed the first-person shooter. Because by the time we get out of the first-person shooter era, Call of Duty would have just killed it by then. Having like 8 Call of Duties for this one system or several systems, they just go cross-platform.
Totally.
They're just gonna destroy the first-person shooter.
They even brought the first person shooter to the Wii. Come
Yeah,
on.
I noticed that. I'm like, how can you play Call of Duty on the Wii? That's just doesn't make sense. I mean,
It's garbage.
the Wii. Okay, I like my Wii, but they just haven't made any good games for it. I mean, the only good game that I got for my Wii was, Super Smash Brothers, which is the whole reason I bought my Wii. And they've had some good games. Like when I first got my Wii, I played Twilight Princess Zelda, and it was good. But I have yet to find a game that I bought for a Wii that I actually looked forward to buying.
All right, so is this pulling us into Skyward Sword now?
Yep, we're going towards Zelda.
We're going towards upcoming releases.
Yeah, when I first got my Wii, I mean, there was this game called Elebits, and I saw commercials for it and everything, and it's
It
a
looks
game.
fun.
Yeah, it's a game where you point your cursor at furniture and you can move it, and you find these little fuzzy or
Oh, so
plushy little.
it's like a Where's Waldo with weird little things.
Yeah, but there's millions of them. I
Oh
mean, like there's a
gosh.
whole crapload of them, and it's entertaining. I mean, you
So it's a game of I Spy. That sounds like
not really
kind
I
of
not I Spy generally, but there's like
in a
you just
sense.
move everything. You just gotta look for them all. It's like hide and seek, except
That's that's
you
pretty fun,
start off
except for
with.
Visit Seeker.
Yeah, you start off with this gun and you can move stuff. All right. as you collect the elebits, as they're called, you get watts, and it allows you to move heavier objects. You can break things, you can move stuff. Eventually you get to the point where you can move couches, and that's when it gets fun.
Throw
So
that junk across the room.
yeah, it's entertaining, and I don't know why that game didn't get a lot of press, but it's just an entertaining game. Now, since then, I'm sure that there have been games like that for the Wii, but the Wii felt like a gigantic disappointment. I feel like Nintendo decided, hey, we're gonna stop making cool games for our systems. No more hardcore games. It's just gonna be games for family members. But
Well, everybody else is going hardcore because I mean, look at all the great titles for the Xbox and the PlayStation. They're all the really good titles are rated M, or somewhere around that area.
yeah, I don't think
All good games are teen and up.
not necessarily. Like, look at the simple games. Like that's where it's at. Like Super Mario rated E for everyone. Greatest game probably in the history of forever.
One game that I don't understand how it has its rating, but is one of the greatest games that I've played, and I'm seriously bringing this up, Blaze Blue.
Blaze Blue.
Oh gosh, what is that? A T for teen or E10
I
up?
think it's T, but
Yeah,
the reason for
I think
this
it's
is because people like Street Fighter. This is a fighting game. It's an anime fighting game with it's a sprite fighting game, so it's kind of like Street Fighter.
and it's delicious.
It's a bit it's a bit more fast paced. It's a
Flavor.
it's you're making it pretty hard to talk.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's a fighting game, and it's very fast paced. It's complicated. It's in depth. It takes a while to learn. I don't know much. I don't know very much of it. I've only played for a little bit. I'm not amazing, but I'm not horrible. Well, I can be horrible sometimes, but yeah, I'm looking at it. It's T for teen. So the reason for this is that games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, they've just taken over the mecca for fighting games.
If it became more popular, it totally would stomp the nation with, I don't know, Tager, aka who is it? Balrog?
Balrog.
No, the Red Cyclone from Street Fighter.
Sagat, Boss Sagat, I think it's called.
I don't know.
I don't know, but basically,
like-
if you were to take the main character of Street Fighter, whose name I can't remember to save my life, and had him do infinite Hadokens in a row, that took out half of your life bar. That homed in on you. That would be the essentially Tager.
Oh yeah,
Iron Tager. He is the most overpowered character in any game I can think of.
he's the God mode grabber of the game
He's button mash friendly.
with magnets.
He has magnets. It's just the game can sometimes feel very stacked against the player. But if
All right, let's try and get off the Tager juice here. Now that we've actually explained an inside joke.
so Blaze Blue, if it was more popular, then yeah, it would be popular. But the problem with it is that it takes a long time to learn. No one wants to put the time in for that. They just want to pick up a game and play it.
All right, and that kind of throws me into the psychology of the id and not wanting to play games people just play it to get what they want out of it. They don't play it to play it or enjoy it.
Yeah, most people just play it to waste time.
Like Super Mario, that's friendly for everybody. All right, I get to do what I want. I just romp through the games, get to the end, and wait, my princess is in another castle.
That's what I was wondering. Like, how does he not know where his princess is? It's like, oh, is he just shooting in the dark, going to random people's castles? Hey, what's up, bro? I think you got my princess. Okay, thanks, bye. Oh, sorry, she's not in this castle. Okay, I'll go to the next one.
Oh, I just killed like a million monsters.
I just committed
Xenocide.
Yeah, that's a book. Sorry, guys.
It's K. For me, at least.
Orson Scott Card, look him up sometime. He's a great author. Anyway,
But
basically
seriously,
committing
get out there and buy Blaze Blue. It's delicious. At least rent it or something.
Yeah, go, if you got GameFly, hit it up. I'm not even sure if it's on GameFly, but if it's not, then beg them for it. Or go to your local Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever. I don't even think people
Order it
use
from
those
their
anymore.
site. But if you like Guilty Gear, that's the closest thing that I can say to it, as far as I've heard. If you like Guilty Gear, try Blaze Blue.
If you want Soul Calibur that isn't 3D, that doesn't have 8-way run, if you want, okay, here, this is a better way to explain it. If you like Street Fighter, but you wish that it had more moves, a nicer looking interface, characters with big boobs, and a very fast-paced style, then Blaze Blue is your game.
Definitely.
Yeah. Even without the boob thing, it's probably still your game.
It's got fan service for everybody, whether you're into like the whole gosh. Yeah, I don't even want to get into it, but whether you're into like chicks
Whether
with large breasts,
whether you're into the chicks with skin or the chicks with fur, they got your shtick.
they also even attempt at guy love there, so
Yeah. Well, another thing that we want to hit on is some of these characters nowadays in video games, they're just so depressing.
Cloud.
Final Fantasy VII, biggest culprit. Sorry, fanboys, but we're gonna trash on your game here.
I've never even played it, but I never have liked any Final Fantasies. Any of them that I've tried to pick up, I've just set it right back down and said no, I can't do that.
Maybe I need to trash on you a little bit.
That's cool. That's cool. Go ahead, trash on me. Everybody will like that.
Final Fantasy is a great series. I just like the name Final Fantasy. You figured the first one would have been it, but no.
Thank you.
They had they had to kill it. 13 more times or 14, I think they have now.
Oh, they're gonna have more. Betcha.
No, I'll wait until they hit like 30, and then I'll start ranting. But
you hit 30 and we'll sue.
we look at 7, and people say, "Oh, it's the best Final Fantasy ever," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's really not." Cloud, Sephiroth, Angeal, Zack, Fair. Probably all names you've heard before if you've played Final Fantasy VII.
Or even heard of it.
Some of the most overrated characters ever. It's just, I don't know why they're so popular. They're just so depressing, and they're all self-destructive, and they're all extremely, I hate to say it, but maybe if they had some different hair choices and they wore skinny jeans, they'd be emo.
Like they're not already.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're trying too hard to convey emotion when really it's supposed to be a fantasy game. I mean, how can you have your fantasy with pre-made characters and fleshed out stories? I mean, I liked the original Final Fantasy where you play a nameless character pretty much. You put your name in, you play
Pokemon.
That. You make your 4 friends, you and 3 friends if you have that many. And you go out in the world and you adventure. It's hard, but it's fun. And there's a preset story, but it feels a little bit more like your fantasy. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is just so how many spin-offs do they have of Final Fantasy VII?
I have no idea.
Let me see.
I don't even really want to get into it. And all you people who write fan fictions for it, shame on you.
Fan fictions are just creepy in general. Let's see. So there's the original Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation.
Gosh, we don't really need to get into it, do we? Because I mean, they have more than enough ways. Because they can make a strategy game, a card game. They can do so much junk that haven't been successful, except with like the small little cult fan bases. Because I mean, I know that there's more than enough new movies that cults have been made off of.
Yep. All right. So let's see. Let's count how many things have been branched off. We're not gonna go in depth into them. I just want to name them. So Before Crisis, mobile game, CGI film, Advent Children. Most people have heard of that. So there's The Last Order, Final Fantasy VII, original video animation.
I've actually watched one of those now that I think about it.
The Final Fantasy VII for Vincent Valentine, and I'm pretty sure there's a mobile one, third person. Um, Crisis Core for the PSP. There's some short stories, I know.
Isn't there like a Final Fantasy Tactics or Final Fantasy Crystals or some crap
I
like
don't I
that?
don't think that it's for
It's a mobile.
I don't think it's Final Fantasy VII though.
Oh, we're just sticking with 7. But yeah, I've actually seen one of the animated movies, CGI.
Yeah, I own one too. I mean, the movie isn't that bad. I mean,
I didn't say I own one. I said I saw it.
I know I said
One of my friends own it.
I own it, and it's really not that
I
bad.
mean, besides you.
I mean, it's part of my nerd propaganda. I have it. I mean, I don't watch it every day. I don't swear by it, but I have it.
That's kind of like me owning all the books by a certain author just because I liked one movie based off of his book.
Stephen King.
That's you.
Yeah, it is me. Except I actually like his books.
Right. Well, I didn't say that I don't like these books. Gosh, throwing me under the bus for... Yeah, Chuck Palahniuk, writer of Fight Club, Invisible Monsters, a few others. Go check him out if you're interested. He actually has somewhat of a cult following for Fight Club. I believe his artist site is called The Cult.
I believe that's a movie also too, right?
Yeah, probably. Which one? I know that I know there are two that
No,
that are movies,
I
Fight
haven't seen
Club and
them.
Choke,
I
but
haven't seen them, so
right. They're pretty good. Well, I'm not so sure about Choke, but
another day we'll review this movie. Well,
oh yeah,
that,
at least I will.
so look forward to that another day. I think we're about ready to wrap it up. We've covered a lot of things. We've covered iTunes, video games. What else have we covered?
We've covered iTunes, computers.
Computers.
We've touched on a lot today. A lot has touched us, so
That's creepy.
I at least had to throw one joke in there.
That was creepy.
You know it was good.
So yeah, we'll see you on Monday, most likely.
All right,
Might have
yeah.
some new topics then.
We'll have our Alex back or our A, and so I guess that wraps it up for this week.
Yep, Alex is Brown. We'll see you next week.